losses on the journey as well.
Of course.
But it's been good. It's been a good journey.
No, I definitely can't disagree with the journey and where you're at right now in terms of, you can see that journey, where you're heading, and the amount of value that you even put out now, which I think you didn't start too long ago. I think we discussed this last night. 5 months ago?
Yeah, no, So I lost my uncle in September, and when I lost my uncle, I kind of worked for, he's affectionately called Carl in the ICT community, but his name was Tim. And I lost my uncle, and I came back to work, and just was in a one-on-one with my boss, and there was immediately following the bereavement, I'd gone to a lot of these job sites with my uncle, and what I used to do is I used to manage like architects and engineers and contractors and subcontractors and the permitting process and just the whole development process within construction management. And it was during COVID, so it was a lot of like Microsoft Teams, and I pretty much had and dealing with, quite a large sum of money in the way of development. I think I was managing around 50.
My confidence reflected in my smile. But now,
while brushing, if you see blood, you may have gum problems. Plaque builds up on the gum line and weakens it. It may worsen over time, leading to tooth loss. Use Parodontax toothpaste. It's 4 times more effective in removing plaque. Parodontax.
$1 million. Wow. In the budgets and the schedules and the allocations of funds and where and how it was going to be going to a specific, 12,000 square foot project or a 20,000 square foot project or just juggling, lots of juggling. So yeah, one day I walked into work. Actually, it was the week after I took bereavement from when my uncle passed. And I was in a one-on-one with my boss, and he was just kind of like shitting on me and kind of taking credit for my work, calling me lucky. And I was just like, fuck this, man, I'm out. And trading had always been something that had been in the background for me. It's something I'd done part-time. I've always kind of had this kind of side thing with the market, like this fascination with the market. So I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to be a trader. I'm going to do this. Yeah. So started trading full time, and opened up kind of a social media account, kind of thinking of my uncle and how he'd passed. And then my daughter's 15, my ex-wife is 33. So they're younger. They kind of gassed me up, kind of said, go for it, like this is a good time, have fun. And it's like I posted some stuff, and it just kind of started going viral, and I was really comparing ICT and ICT's work to a complete community college or a master's in finance. Like if you want to become if you wanted to take a course to become a day trader, I felt like what he'd put out within the mentorship and the course content is a complete body of work, and that if you focus your time and energy on it, and I would say typically that takes 18 months to become a journeyman in construction, to get an associate's degree, to get a master's degree, it's going to take you at least 18 months. So a lot of my content, a lot of what I was posting on Twitter was pretty much telling people that, demo is a laboratory, just like any other technical science. You need to focus, just like in chemistry or biology, you need to study your lecture, and then you need to focus that lecture. You need to listen to that lecture again while you're actually in your lab. And I would compare demo to being in laboratory, and also using the analogy that, this complete coursework that's on YouTube is also a very complete, thorough explanation of how to trade within the markets. So with the name ICT Concepts, and with a lot of my posts very specifically being generated towards the ICT community and where and how they could and should be encouraged to kind of follow the pathway of utilizing his education towards unlocking the markets for themselves. So, I mean, that's really kind of my journey on social media. It was like trying to guide people, trying to help people understand, encourage them. Like, this is a long, arduous road. You can hurt yourself very badly if you don't approach it the correct way. And a lot of my content kind of went viral. And then after about a month of doing it, I started doing these spaces. So Twitter Spaces is probably one of the things that I'm known for on social media. And within that, it just kind of became a safe space, very driven and focused towards the ICT community, and coming in and talking about their experience, what their trading history's been like, what their life is, their challenges, kind of trying to make it very real and raw, because I think trading has a lot of has like a dark side, has a different side than often is portrayed on social media. So for me, it was really all about trying to peel back the layers and kind of step through the facade. I compared a lot of what I saw on social media, and it was an analogy one of my friends said, but like, there are a lot of wolves on social media, and then these followers or people that are newer to the industry, they're kind of like lambs. And for me, it was kind of real important, if there are wolves and there are lambs, that the industry needed more sheepdogs. And a sheepdog can tear up a wolf while still protecting the lamb. So this idea of being a sheepdog, being a beacon that is actually protective and trying to be truthful and honest and transparent with the difficulties that there are in becoming a trader. No matter what, it's a long, arduous journey, and you're going to have a lot of challenges along the way. So the space really became a place for that, to where we could bring people up, kind of talk about their own journey, their own struggles. I was going through a lot of struggles myself. So, I mean, my wife left me, so that kind of sucked. But it was very much her projecting her expectations onto me, onto the charts. It was like drinking poison, trying to be a trader. Deciding to take that on full time was tough, right? Like, she wants me to be, it's not enough if you are successful in the market, even if you're not, but if you are successful, and even if you can buy a house or you can buy a car, then all of a sudden it needs to be that Superman expectation every time. It's got to be home runs all the time, and we lose, and sometimes we don't manage that risk well, and those, emotional hurdles that you kind of have to go through, or mental hurdles, or whatever it is, bringing that into the charts then takes away clarity from you and your own skill or your ability to trade. So for me, my relationship was hitting like an all-time high as far as toxicity. And yeah, I mean, we kind of got in a fight, and she's kind of got up and left. And I would go onto these Twitter Spaces and just kind of try and figure that out and talk about it and try and be as open and honest about it as I could, because in a relationship as a trader, I think it's hard to be vulnerable. I think it's hard to be, or to demonstrate weakness within the dynamic of who you're fucking and sucking, quite frankly. And I had a challenge with that. I had a really tough time being an alpha personality within the dynamic of a husband and wife, to have one to have done very well, but I mean, you hit home runs and you strike out, and you can take real. I mean, I don't come from the era of funded accounts, so I've traded real money and live money for a long time. So the idea of blowing accounts is it's a real thing, right? And losing money, and losing a lot of money can happen very quickly. And I I have 2 ex-wives to show for it. So I've done a lot of winning, but I've also lost, and not being able to hold myself accountable within that dynamic of a romantic relationship, I think was difficult for my ex. And yeah, it didn't matter if I was winning. It wasn't enough. And if I lost, it wasn't something that I could bring to her easily. So within the Spaces community that we kind of found in ICT's name, I really wanted to talk about that. And I really wanted to kind of expose and be vulnerable to my own weaknesses, but then also the weaknesses of other traders, and where and how that's important, right? So it was very, very much an empathetic, compassionate, respectful place that I tried to open up as a host, and not make it about me, but really make it about other traders and their journey, but at the same time be very willing to talk about my own difficulties or challenges within that. So
let's take a break for a minute there, guys, because I want to tell you about our sponsor, Skilled Funded Trader, SFT. Now, that's brought to you by myself, Omar Agag, and Life of Paladin. Now, just as I've taken over the podcast space, it's now time for us to take over the prop firm industry. Now, how are we going to do that? First of all, traders shouldn't have so much pressure on their shoulders when trading. So how do we reduce that? How do we get rid of that? How do we alleviate that? Well, you already know. We will take away maximum trading days. So that means no maximum trading days. So whether it takes you 1 month, 6 months, 8 months, it does not matter. Now, can you achieve 8%? Because that's our profit target in phase 1 in 8 months, 1% a month. I think you can do that. Now, you can hold trades over the weekend. So we are here for all traders, no matter if you're a scalper, day trader, or swing trader. We're here for all traders, and that includes you. But also on our phase 2, it's just a 5% target. Now, we only have 3 minimum trading days on phase 1 and 3 minimum trading days on phase 2. So within 6 trading days, you can be fully funded with us. Now, max capital, you can have up to $400,000 with SFT. $400,000. It is absolutely life-changing. Now, if you have the skills here at Skilled Funded Trader, we want you to come and take part in our challenge. Now, in terms of scaling, you can actually take that $400,000 and through our scaling plan, achieve the maximum of $2 million. $2 million, taking it up another level. That's what we're here to do, and we will continue to do so. So make sure you check out the link in the description. There'll be the Discord link for the community to get live updates. So make sure you join that, as well as the website as well, and check out any coupon codes below for any discounts at SFT. Let's get back to the episode.
that was kind of how I started with the Spaces, and a lot of ICT traders, a lot of folks that are within his community would kind of step up.
ഷെയർ ചെയ്യൂ കൂടുതൽ ഓഡിയോ പുതിയ 20 രൂപ പാക്കിനൊപ്പം.
And kind of the first part of the evolution of these Spaces was just that, just kind of coming in and kind of talking about, hey, you know, I got problems with my girlfriend, you know, someone else is, you know, one of my friends, you know, was in this accident and like it's affected my trading. Someone else is like, I blew up an account yesterday and someone else is like, I can't figure this out. And it's like, it's all right. Let's talk about it. We're here to talk about it. Let's utilize this platform as a way to kind of communicate and come together. And my core tenets within starting these Spaces is we rise by lifting others. And the mastermind principle, which is you can accomplish more in 1 year together than you can alone in a lifetime. So we're stronger together than we are alone. And then the third, the markets will provide. And so I kind of came to social media with a pretty interesting Wayne Dyer kind of speech on affirmations. And I really felt like that defined me and what I wanted to bring to the space as far as positivity and inspiration. And it's what my mom showed me when I was younger, right? 20 plus years ago, real headstrong and trying to figure it out on my own and everything else. But having these affirmations real positive kind of constructive ways to utilize towards meditation, towards breathing, towards just finding a more holistic approach towards yourself within operating in the market. So those affirmations I still utilize, and within the opening of the podcast, I would include them. I actually wouldn't mind. I'd like to, even if it's okay, I'd like to share it because it adds a certain level. Is that okay?
Of course, yeah.
It lives on my page, and as I came to social media, I traded within an hour a lot of contracts, and it's just how I.
I know that I am pure spirit, that I always have been, and that I always will be. There is inside me a place of confidence and quietness and security where all things are known and understood. This is the universal mind, God, of which I am a part, and which responds to me as I ask of it. This universal mind knows the answer to all of my problems, and even now, the answers are speeding their way to me. I needn't struggle for them. I needn't worry or strive for them. When the time comes, the answers will be there. I give my problems to the great mind of God. I let go of them, confident that the correct answers will return to me when they are needed. Through the great law of attraction, everything in life that I need for my work and fulfillment will come to me. It is not necessary that I strain about this. Only believe, for in the strength of my belief, my faith will make it so. I see the hand of divine intelligence all about me, in the flower, the tree, the brook, the meadow. I know that the intelligence that created all these things is in me and around me, and that I can call upon it for my slightest need. I know that my body is a manifestation of pure spirit, and that spirit is perfect. Therefore, my body is perfect also. I enjoy life, for each day brings a constant demonstration of the power and wonder of the universe and myself. I am confident, I am serene, I am sure. No matter what obstacle or undesirable circumstance crosses my path, I refuse to accept it, for it is nothing but illusion. There can be no obstacle or undesirable circumstance to the mind of God, which is in me, around me, and serves me now.
What's the title of the video? Just in case it's copyrighted or something?
I don't think it is. It's Affirmations by Wayne Dyer, and I utilized it as a. It's not copyrighted. It would have tagged on. It's on my YouTube page. It's
incredible.
The background of one of my trades. But that's kind of how I introduced myself to social media, and I believe very strongly that in those affirmations as a trader, I think there's a lot of things that you can kind of come to the market with within those affirmations, and I think trading is. What you do off the charts matters more than what you do on the charts. So I try and communicate that at 45 to the 20-something-year-olds that I meet and I get to know through social media. So
definitely. So like when you see the space, you see a lot of like that side of things, the affirmations and Wayne Dyer, really incredible words, incredible insights. Luckily for me, my mum used to listen to back in the day with cassettes.
Yeah.
She used
PBS.
to have
PBS cassettes.
Exactly. In the car, we'd have these cassettes with Wayne Dyer recorded on them. And I would be a kid, and I didn't know. I wouldn't subconsciously. I might be taking in the words, but years later, and you listen to the words, you realize just how powerful they are. And something as simple as words, but yet, as you say, off the charts, outside of necessarily trading, is so powerful. And when you observe the space. And you see the way the space kind of the narrative is, get money, get rich, get this lifestyle, promoted
very heavily to more of a younger crowd as well, and you see the excitement and you see the the focus maybe or intention, should I say, in the wrong areas. What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, I think I go back to the analogy of a wolf. I think there are quite a few wolves feeding on the sheep, and I don't think they have the individual person's interest at heart. They just care about their money or their subscription or whatever that is, and enticing them to their signal service or to whatever it is that they do. And yeah, I mean, I think ICT was a real disruptor within the industry and kind of changing that with his coursework and distributing things for free. And my goal with my tag and within the community is to kind of try and pick up what he's putting down and kind of try and take that reverberation and continue it forward. So where he's riding out into the sunset, I want to be here strong as a student, as a model student in his army. I want to be a leader and a general in trying to help folks that are interested in utilizing that trade methodology, algorithmic theory and philosophy and algorithmic principles that he clearly defines within his own coursework, that I think it's painfully obvious that they work, or you wouldn't see the success you see within his students. I for one, have been utilizing it probably since around 2016, 2017. 2016, 2017.
6-7 years,
yeah, I've been utilizing it, slowly incorporating it more and more into where and how I've traded. It wasn't as complete of a coursework for me. It was mostly OTE and fair value gaps. And I'm a fib-based trader. So when I trade, I use fibs all the time. So time-based fibs are nice. Standard deviation fibs, and then a myriad of different classic fib-based settings for different reasons, or scenarios within the market environments. So I'm a fib-based trader, kind of always have been. I think I kind of always will be. My edge is definitely defined with understanding or my use of the Fibonacci and standard deviations. Which is why when we were having dinner yesterday, I was asking everyone, what's your edge that you could give it away? And for me, I'll say it now to you, 4 standard deviations. That's it.
If you were to break that down for those who may not understand, is there a way, without a chart?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you look at institutional swing points, I mean, ICT lays it out in core content month 5. I think it's episode 4. But when you get a lower low, an intermediate term high, and then a higher low, or vice versa, in any way, a higher low, intermediate term high, and a lower low, you key a projection fib on that, and you project it upwards, and you can find that the market will move pretty accurately to within 4 standard deviations. So if you can find that swing point and you can key it on the right market structure, then you'll find that it tends to move within that range.
Incredible.
Pretty much to a tick.
Well, talking about like pretty much to a tick, and obviously your trading style, you being one of the unique few who trades live, and has showcased the you trading live, calling the price points. And have you done it? I think you've done a live stream, right?
Yeah, I do. Well, I started with these spaces, and they were very much kind of driven in the idea of being very community focused, and tried to kind of offer a platform where it would be positive, respectful, and encouraging for people to kind of talk about their journey. So I think we'll always do that, and that's one part or piece that we do within Twitter Spaces. It'll morph into, I hope, more of a podcast platform. We're looking to edit. I've got 500 plus hours of content, but it's all very raw. It's not edited. It's not cleaned up. There's a lot of ums, ahs, So there's that, and I'm working on kind of cleaning that up. But then a second part or piece that's kind of helped within the growth within the community has been kind of trying to emulate what ICT does when ICT is not doing what ICT does, and calling price real time on a 30-second chart, on a 1-minute chart, on a 5-minute fractal, on a 10-minute fractal, on an hourly fractal, trying to kind of mirror and mimic what he has done through his mentorship, but in the lens of a student, and preferably as almost like a TA, right? Like a teacher's assistant. Like I try and very much mirror and assimilate and emulate what he does within his mentorship. I try and, again, pick up what he's putting down, and I try and utilize his concepts, and I try to explain different ones. So I've been fortunate. You could pick one of his models, and I mean MMXM, OHLC, OTE, a myriad, the unicorn. He's got a myriad of different models that he utilizes. A 90-minute cycle. I'll take any one of those as a theme within the live stream, and then I will live trade that specific model on top of price action as it's printing real time. So, and I'll do it my way with how I'll mark up a chart and how I see things. So it's not ICT. It's my own version of it. It is ICT concepts, but it's going to be my logic and my interpretation of me being me, obviously the trader, and how I'm going to make those decisions on a chart. So I've had a lot of success, and I think there are a lot of other traders within the community that are also stepping up and doing a similar thing, and it's great to see. So live trading within the markets, I believe strongly and firmly. And in recently speaking with ICT, in having an interview with him, I kind of asked a lot of questions as far as the education space, and saying that I really, I've volunteered pretty much 70, 60 plus hours a week for the last 5 months to trying to educate and help, either by doing this kind of podcast in this community-based kind of thing, or within calling the markets real time as price is printing. So I've kind of created these two different things that I do, and I asked him very clearly just for advice and at length different things. What do I do about this? What do I do about this? How do I go about this? And he just was very frank and honest, and compassionately expressed to me where and how I could carve my own way, within an education space. And I think he said pretty specifically not to focus so much on static slides and previous price action, but to continue forging my own journey into reading price and price action real time, and teaching students how to interpret price as it's reading and printing real time through order blocks, through market structure, through projected ranges, through higher time frame analysis. And that's what I do. That's what I enjoy doing.
It's incredible. And I think the combination of the two things you do there, in terms of like the podcast style, the raw and community aspect, as well as then the technical side and the actual live trading side, is probably a huge, they complement each other in such a massive way, that when, that's probably why you've seen such immense growth. Obviously the value that you put into both as well, but that's probably why you see such immense growth, because it's something quite unique. And as you mentioned, you can tell by the way that you have both of those things, it fits the mindset of being being against the wolves, and protecting the lambs, so it's incredible to see. And one thing you mentioned there, which I want to touch on, is how you mentioned all the different concepts, and obviously ICT has a lot of different concepts.
Yeah, he does.
Now some people see it not as a negative, but it can be confusing by having so many. But as you've pointed to, he has a lot of concepts, and you can understand them, but then you have your way, right, of how you interpret it, but then also how you use it, and maybe your specific ones that you resonate with. Can you just maybe touch on that a little bit? As you can imagine, loads of people coming into ICT.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's take a break for a minute there, guys, because I want to tell you about our other sponsor, TradeZeller. Now, TradeZeller is something I only wished I had during my journey, because I would have saved myself so much time and, more importantly, money, because TradeZeller is the greatest automated journaling software on the market. That's right, automated. All you have to do is connect your MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5, so essentially your account, and it will pull up all of your data with all your statistics. It goes so in depth from obviously your losses, the days, the times. It allows you to bar replay so you can actually see that trade as if it was live. Absolutely incredible. It's an absolute game changer for everyone's trading journey. Without data, how can you make a statistical edge? I went through so much time without collecting data, without journaling. And why was that? Because most people find journaling very tedious, when in reality, why not have it automated and all done for you? All you do is just add the notes. As part of TradeZeller, you also have playbooks. So if you have different entry drills, you can list them all out so you can categorize your trades. TradeZeller is for everyone, whether you trade options, whether you trade Forex, whether you trade prop firms, or even just your own personal account. It is here to revolutionize the trading journey. Make sure you click the link in the description below and use the code RIZ10 for 10% off. Go take a look at the link in the description. Let's get back to the episode.
I mean, I believe ICT's content is meant for, it's a universal trading style, meaning that no matter your religion, no matter your race, no matter your nationality, no matter what language you're speaking, you can study this content and find something that relates to you. With it being so broad, with there being so much depth to learning algorithmic philosophy, algorithmic theory, algorithmic principles. It's a lot like learning a language, I believe wholeheartedly. A language, music, mathematics, all are things that build onto each other. You can't simply, there's no cheat code to either three of those lines. And becoming a musician, becoming a mathematician, you're not going to just delve into advanced calculus if you don't understand trigonometry. You can't do it. So similarly, in a language, you can't just start quoting Shakespeare if you haven't learned Cat in the Hat. So I think day trading very much, when you get into the fundaments of what it is to learn, it's process. And unfortunately, the culture that we live in and the way so many people have been brought up in the world that we live in, I think attention gets fractionated. I think people expect more without understanding always the necessary steps to get to where their expectation wants to be or where it is. So in speaking to the broad depth of what ICT is, I mean, for me, I try and break it down in reading price and price action real time into understanding the specific elements of an order block and how these candles are printing real time. There's several different patterns and signatures that the algorithm leaves. And I think the more someone delves into understanding these theories, market structure, order blocks, market structure, and high time frame analysis, I think, are the core fundaments of, or the common denominators in which all of his different series and concepts boil around. So for me, I try to explain the importance of understanding price printing real time and where and how it's printing real time, and then I try to reference specific coursework that offers more logic and understanding coming directly from him. So a propulsion block, what happens when a price opens at its origin, it expands to the downside, and kind of ranges close to its origin, but then and it might price into a similar candle next to it or the one next to that within a fractal or a microfractal. So microfractals daisy chain into a larger macrofractal on a single time frame, and theories and concepts and understandings of market structure and the projections of price within market structure. I think being able to utilize these candles as words or syntax within the paragraphs within the story that is printing real time within price and price action. So again, to me, it's analogous to music, math, or learning a foreign language. And all of those things take a lot of time. They take memorization, they take practice, they take repetition. And similarly, if it were a sport, it'd be like judo or jujitsu, in which someone's just going to walk on to a mat with someone who's got a lot of years experience, and they're going to roll, and they're going to realize how little they know when they roll with someone who understands. And I think what ICT has done with his coursework, again, to me, it's, you couldn't go to a community college. I went to Ohio State University. You couldn't go to get a master's in finance and how to become a day trader. Doesn't exist. Doesn't. I mean, there's a lot of different institutions that offer a lot of different things, but to the everyday average retail person who's interested in becoming a day trader, the course content that ICT offers for free is very complete. It's broad and it's got a lot of depth. So people just need to kind of understand that that journey is indeed a journey. And if you go on it, then you need to stay true to it. You got to be able to commit. You need to be monogamous, similar to what you would be in a relationship. You can't just look for the bigger, better deal. Well, she's got a fatter ass. Look at her tits. You can't do that. You can't do that. You have to stay focused. And I think that's hard in the world that we live in, especially when you're dealing with a large populace of young males that are not mature enough in understanding the importance to committing to a single theory or philosophy or trade terminology. And that's what it is. It's a language, it's a theory, it's a philosophy. And for me, I think I've boiled them down into principles. And that's what I try to really teach, is where and how to prioritize those specific concepts.
100%. And, just to break it down what you said there, or to simplify it, should I say, it's like essentially, as you're saying, mathematics, music, almost like a masterful puzzle piece. You're starting from a foundation, you have to build upon that foundation, have a deep understanding of each level, right, as you move up. And after that, though, are you able to then, once you have this deeper understanding, let's say there's 100 broad topics or concepts that you can use, you have an understanding of them, and more importantly, the foundation, as you said, and then you can, say, pick the 3 or 4 that resonate most with you, that you can then piece together to deploy into the market.
Very similar. I like the analogy of music, because a model is no more or no less than an instrument. And he could be teaching an entire orchestra of knowledge and information, and something's going to resonate with, again, someone from somewhere around the world that is whoever or however they like seeing things or dealing with things. And I mean, the breaker block might be the model, and you might be waiting for an intermediate term low to form from a lower high and then a higher low to each side of that, and you're waiting for price to crash down past that intermediate term low to then retrace back up. When it retraces back up, are you utilizing the order block that was formed at the intermediate term high, or are you slapping a fib on that, and are you looking for OTE? So those are two very different models with price action reacting the same way, and he explains both. So, and he doesn't just explain both, you could still layer different concepts as well onto just that single phenomenon when it happens. So I think with how complex the market really is, that ICT's coursework is universal. I would say it's for the universal trader. You could find any environment and find a way to operate therein. Most any environment. I think the other part of what he teaches that I resonate with deeply are the kill zones, the time and price, the X and the Y axis, or the time being your X and your price being your Y axis. With a construction engineering background myself, I was taking physics-based calculus at 33 years of age. So I bring a strong mathematical understanding to the size of ranges and to this core dynamic that he teaches of the power of 3. So it ends up being 3 to the first, 3 to the second, 3 to the third, 3 to the fourth, etc. But a range or a retracement or a consolidation or an expansion that's 3 points or 9 points or 27 points or 81 points or 243 points. Those are going to be the difference within some daily expansions or retracements, or weekly, up to weekly. So it could be a session-based, daily up to a weekly, and then you could get into higher forms as well within monthly, etc. But the power of 3 has to do with range and range sizes and where and how the algorithm is actually seeking order and order flow. So at least that's how I understand it.
100%. And as you say, this can all be found in the breadth of work, the body of work that has been put out there. And one thing I'll ask you in regards to that is that because it's free, do you feel like there is the risk of people not valuing enough the content that is available because of it being just readily and easily available, if that makes sense?
Oh, for sure. I think that's human nature. I mean, I think people want to pay for something and they think by paying for it that they're going to somehow get there faster. And that, I think, is a reflection on the times that we live in. You don't need anybody to learn. But you could argue the same thing with a classic degree as well. I could go download a syllabus from a master's in finance. I could get the textbook. I could buy the textbook. I could download the syllabus. I could find a lot of the course content for free, never pay a dime to attend a university, and I could teach myself. But the problem is a lot of people don't know how to self-study. And then if they do, it doesn't mean that they're still going to be finding profitable or consistent manners in which to operate within the environment that is the market. So I think similar to weight training, I think similar to elite athletics, I think coaching isn't bad. And I think what ICT has offered to tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of folks is a way in which to do that. So his mentorship, his core content is enough, but it's also structured within his pace of study. That's not what happens on YouTube. If it says core content month 4, that's being consumed in a week. Doesn't make sense, right? If it says it's going to be, you need a year of operating in demo and practicing while you utilize demo like you do a lab. So, I mean, for me, it's kind of that simple, in where too many people are seeking ways to cut corners, to do less. So, yes, it's free. Yes, it's all there. It's a broad breadth of knowledge, but people see other people doing it and they want to be them. They want to do what they're doing. And maybe a coach, maybe a private teacher. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just making sure that the student is feeling empowered with what they're learning, accompanied by what ICT has taught.
Definitely. Obviously ICT has had such an impact on your journey.
For sure.
You have such a in-depth knowledge of his work as well, and the name ICT Concepts, it's essentially, as you said, like a TA, and providing such value and insight into more detail, to just help those LAM, as you say, the students trying to study this work, and give them that, hopefully that reinforcement and that knowledge to be able to push forward. What was it like then to obviously spend time with him? Because I know you mentioned yesterday you had obviously an interview with him, but then you had countless hours afterwards of just you and him talking.
It was. It's a once in a lifetime experience. I really, really look up to him, and I think just in human nature, compassion and empathy are very important. And like the root word of empathy is empath. And I think the more empathy that you express towards your fellow man, I think the more likelihood or chance that you will come in tune with your own empath or empathy or intuition. So I feel I resonate deeply with him and who he is. And he was everything I would have thought, everything that I thought he would be, and just being such a compassionate and empathetic soul who is really focused a lot of his time and energy towards the massive student body that he has. And I don't know if I want to get into all of the stuff that we talked about, because I thought it was pretty. I want to be respectful,
of course,
to him, but and to what those conversations were. But I could just really sense how deeply he cares for his students and how kind of torn he's been with this global body of students, and then his family, like, because you want to be there for your family as well. And being a husband, being a father is more important than just being ICT. And I think that's just from my own 2 cents and understanding and conversing with him. I feel like as he is leaving social media and his hundreds of thousands of followers, I think he's going to very calmly and succinctly and just, I think he's just going to focus on being a dad and being a husband. And I don't want to speak for him, but I think those are roles that are very important to him, as have been his students. And that's just kind of how I see it, just from talking with him. So for me, it's once in a lifetime experience. It was bucket lists, a man I look up to and admire deeply, and I can relate to how much he cares about trying to help other people.
Definitely. And what's interesting is, obviously, in life, you're hitting these milestones, and as you say, like a bucket list item. And at this time, is it any different to, say, if you hit a milestone 10 years ago or 15 years ago, in terms of, it's feeling, and being able to do that continuously, hit new milestones in different areas of life. But what's it like, obviously, to have that mindset still, to keep striving for more and to be better?
I mean, I say being 1% better every day. That's something obviously you say as well. I've heard you say it multiple times. For me, Steve Covey, another author, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, another very classic book in the late 90s when I was kind of growing up in my 20s, treated it much like a textbook. And at 45 years of age, I still think a lot of that holds true, and a lot of the messaging I have within these spaces and within the classrooms and everywhere else. Becoming 1% better for me is just simply drawing a plus sign on a sheet of paper. You've got your physical, your mental, your emotional, and your spiritual, and you're really, really focusing on each one of these quadrants within your life. And you're going to make a list, an exhaustive list in each one of these quadrants, and you're going to really find ways to tick specific boxes off. So with physical, it could be sleep, it could be what you're eating, it could be exercise, it's going to be stress management. So your physical quadrant is super important. Mentally, what are you doing? Are you reading? Are you studying? Are you journaling? Are you writing? How are you trying to seek more information? That could be for trading. That could be for life. Could be for philosophy. How to, how to learn something new. How are you exercising that mental quadrant? The emotional quadrant is you're the individual. You're a husband. You're a dad. You're a friend. Probably a brother. You've got 6, 7, 8 different roles that you play. You're a podcast host. You've got these goals within these roles of who you are as an individual. So emotionally, what are they, and what are you doing, or how are you striving to get to them? And then finally, spiritually is your breath, your meditation, dealing with emotional drawdown. How are you coping with, and how do you resonate with simply trying to be better? So for me, it's that simple. When we talk about being 1% better every day, that's what we talk about doing. We quantify how. How do we get better? And it's one thing to be a Hallmark card. It's one thing to have a Hallmark tweet that goes viral. It's another thing to really delve into a space and talk about how. How are we going to do this? What are we going to do different? What am I going to do different? And I mean, for me, it's calisthenics. Like my physical realm, it's calisthenics. It's fresh meat, fresh fruits, vegetables. It's intermittent fasting. It's sobriety. It's not something I always was, but I am. And it's, the best thing for me. But that would kind of, you could say it overlaps into your physical and your mental. So, but, for me, I could say even like I've had a harder time with my mental and emotional state in dealing with the challenges I've dealt with my ex-wife and those daily things. But from a spiritual level, I feel very fulfilled in my own purpose of really dedicating and volunteering my time and energy towards really trying to help other people.
Yeah.
So I personally, I feel good on my physical quadrant and my spiritual quadrant. Woo woo. And I'm working just like we all are on my mental and some of my emotional challenges.
Definitely.
So, yeah, I think that 1% better every day is definitely a thing. And the follow up is how. How do you do it? How do you get 1% better? Just curious.
I just look at what I've been doing, and how much have I progressed? How much have I struggled with? But how much have I progressed so far? But what am I doing that I could do better? So like before, back in August, before that, I was still progressing. I was still working hard. I was still seeing results, but I was still, say, smoking. I was still, say, drinking. I was still not exercising properly. I still wasn't dieting properly. I still wasn't maybe doing the podcast research, right? Or maybe I wasn't looking at watching the podcast myself, each episode, or doing the end of day markups, or journaling my thoughts consistently, or whatever wasn't I doing. Even though I wasn't doing it, I was still seeing results. So if I start to do more things or take away certain things that can help improve, then I would only get better. So it's kind of very similar in terms of like either breaking it up to, rather than the quadrants, I was literally just looking at what I wasn't doing and what I was doing, what negative things I was doing and what positive things I wasn't doing, and then just saying, okay, if I want to improve more than I have already, then I need to remove some of these negatives and start implementing some of these positives, and then just one at a time. I'm a bit more of someone who works in extremes. So essentially what I did was in August last year, I just got rid of loads of the negatives at once, right? And then didn't implement the positives straight away, but just by removing those negatives, I started to accelerate. And then if you think about from August up to December, that body of work and that focus and that relentlessness of just doing that, and then starting to slowly implement the positives too, has led to where I am now in terms of like seeing a lot of momentum, a lot of progress. And even to this day, I'm still thinking like people will look at, okay, the podcast is doing this, or your trading is doing this, and your tweets are doing that, or whatever it may be. Even then, I'm still doing the same thing where it's like, okay, what am I not doing? And what am I doing that isn't maybe too good? So I can then do the same process constantly over and over. And, from doing that, it's just been one step after another. It's not like huge leaps, but it's strange that day by day, after 3 months, 6 months, 9 months of those day-to-days, the leaps start to take place. And it's just been something I've been aware of and observed, that just by little things, it's not like massive, huge change. It's not like I've changed a strategy, or, I've completely changed what the podcast is like, or I've completely changed, my mindset, or my values. Nothing like that. It's just little tiny changes, but the accumulation of them and the discipline to stick to those changes has led to sort of very large steps forward over time.
Incremental steps.
Yeah. In terms of your journey then, because obviously you have that experience, life experience, and obviously trading experience, you have the maturity that, as we've talked about, there's a lot of younger, immature people with a lack of awareness of what is required in life and in trading, of course. But is there moments that you can touch on, whether it's trading related or life related, that were severe lows that may have been obviously extremely hard to get through, but led to a lot of your growth and shaping sort of the mindset or results that came in the future?
I mean, I can tell you some of my lowest lows have been pretty recently. I mean, believe it or not, I've had this crumble of my personal life, and someone that I would jump in front of a speeding train for to save her life. I would easily sacrifice myself for her well-being. In my wife, and who I poured myself into, of 8 years. It's not like we randomly met, but she's younger. She wants a kid. I can't have a kid. We had some real toxic arguments. Wasn't healthy. Wasn't pretty. And yeah, I mean, if we're talking about some lower lows,
You're coming for you. That's it. It's alright, we can cut it out.
I love it. I love it.
They done? Yeah. Just like lower lows?
Yeah, so I mean, the lower lows that I'm having, or that I've had of late, have they've been some of the most difficult challenges. I mean, I've been really fighting demons. And there's self-destructive demons. There's just the pain, fear, loneliness, and it has affected me on the charts. It has. Like, when you're struggling mentally or emotionally, things just get blurry, and it's not as easy to see. And for me, this lower low that I've been dealing with, and it's 3 months old, it's 90 days. It's ironic that I've had this meteoric kind of rise on social media, with this free fall in my personal life falling apart. And within it falling apart, my daughter, who's 15, the relationship and dynamic that I've always had with her, by having a wife, by having a house that's had a woman in it, it's different. I haven't been able to be the father I wanted to be. And she's 15. She's doing her own thing. It's not like I'm the top priority in her life anyway. So timing-wise, it's less than optimal. But in all honesty, I mean, to answer your question, I mean, there's a lot of adversity and challenges that we go through. And pouring yourself into someone that you love, and them kind of just discarding you, saying, no, fuck you. I literally feel like I was like a bag of trash, taken out, put to the curbside. It's a tough thing to kind of manage. The community that has kind of arisen has really been supportive, has really helped me through some pretty dark times. Some of them have kind of offered me kind of these verbal flowers, saying that I've been supportive towards them. And I think this kind of mutual codependent support network that are simply manifesting through these Twitter spaces are they're therapeutic. So I'd say more than anything, as difficult as it is, there's also a lot of therapy there. And within that, there's a level of fulfillment that I don't think I've ever had. So, and for me, it really resonates, again, from a compassionate, empathetic understanding that somehow gets, it's like the volume turns up because there's more energy, there's more voices, there's more people. So ironically, I was a teacher in South America at 18, and I utilized the analogy of at 18, we're like Asia. We're ranging. We're in this consolidated range, and your impact or your full realization doesn't happen. Even in London, you're going to go from maybe an 8 to 10 point range from Asia into a 12 to 16 point range in London, to then seeing a 20, and then a massive swing into 30, 40 point range into New York. And at 45, as a father to my daughter's the age of some of the folks that are on social media that engage within these spaces, or a few years therein. I feel like at 45, I'm really kind of entering into my full potential. I'm going into New York, and my ability to impact and have a positive influence is some of the greatest that it's ever been.
100%.
So I'm embracing that opportunity, and I'm really, really focused on trying to be impactful and shed light in dark places. There's a lot of poor, destitute, difficult, challenging, painful places in this world, and it's to no fault of anyone that's within that circumstance. It's not their fault. So my goal, my purpose, my drive is to spend my time and energy, my trading gains, I realize how little I need and how much I can offer.
Yeah.
So I don't think I could have reached that realization within the poison pill that was the relationship that I swallowed and consumed daily. And it's been a slow realization. It's only been a few months. Maybe it's a fast realization then. But yeah, from adversity to it was probably meant to be, to where I want to go and what I want to do. That's it.
No, definitely. And, one thing you mentioned there, I love that analogy, by the way, with the Asia, London, New York. So touching on that, you probably see and observe a lot of people in the trading space who are probably in that Asia stage and maybe at best London stage, who are trying to make an impact, trying to maybe rush their journey, when they should be probably focusing on the now, and then the future will give them the opportunity to have that expansion and that wider impact. What advice would you give to those people who maybe have their focus in the wrong areas right now, in terms of, putting too much attention on how can I help others and how can I, do this, when in reality they haven't helped themselves first?
I think you make an excellent point. I think when you're younger, it's not hard to focus on yourself, but really focused on your, I'll use the analogy inner circle, right? Really focusing on your range of influence, your sphere of influence. I think that needs to be tight. Being a good son, being a good husband, being a good father, being a good son-in-law, Really focusing on where and how you can be impactful in a positive way, showing up every day within that nucleus and being that motherfucker, showing up and being that rock, helping out, doing what needs to be done. And I think more people, if they focused on that sphere of influence, that really tight nucleus that's theirs, I think they could, with time, I think that naturally broadens. And I mean, what a lot of people don't realize, I think, is becoming a father, and you can relate to this, is just a different chapter in your life. And when you can see the world through the eyes of a child, it really changes who you are.
Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of people that haven't reached that stage. So you don't know what you don't know until you get there. So focusing on yourself is good, but then focusing on the good elements of being committed. Being in a committed relationship is important. And if you're not ready for a relationship, that's fine. But sowing your proverbial oats within the world, you're really spreading out a lot of your energy where you could and should be focusing it. So, I'm a guy that's womanized quite a bit in my life, and I've gotten in plenty of trouble because of that focus of what's between a woman's legs. I think if more people focused on themselves and were more disciplined, I think they would find ways in which to manifest what they indeed want. So I believe strongly, and I don't think enough people do it, but we're all very able and capable of manifesting what we want. I think we kind of plug into the programming, the fear, and kind of the fear-based programming and the control-based programming of just keeping people just comfortable, just distracted enough, just comfortable enough with not liking what they're doing, but not wanting to do something else. For me, I think if people really focused on themselves, focused on trying to get better, eliminate negatives, as you said, and focus on creating what's positive, then I think they could create a pretty cool reality for themselves. Like, I believe wholeheartedly we live in creation space, and this is a creation place, but the converse side to that is the pain and the fear and the control and the programming that we inevitably all are kind of dialed into, AKA the Matrix, right? So unplugging from the Matrix and finding a way to manifest your goals. Don't jerk off. Don't stare at porn. Don't be smoking pot all day. Don't be distracted with sports. Find ways in which you can focus on studying, on your model, on becoming a better trader. Because I do believe that's primarily our audience, our traders. So understanding the data. You don't have a model if you don't have data. And I believe very strongly in creating a database of your own operation within the markets. And for me, it could be as simple as 3 variables: time, price, range. So what time were you interested in? What was the price? And then where did it go to? That's it. 3 variables, 4 variables within a database, within a spreadsheet. You can easily, over time, really figure out where and how you, as a trader, are operating within a marketplace. And by doing that, you inevitably become a better trader.
Definitely.
So
I love that. I think a lot of people hopefully will take note of that and then do some deep reflection and make some changes. We are coming towards the end, so I'd like to finish up with some quick fire questions, if you will. One of which is a reoccurring one, which is, if you could meet anyone, obviously barring ICT for yourself, right? But if you could meet anyone, present or the past, alive or dead, but just sit down with them and learn from them, who would it be?
Elvis Presley.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
You're
absolutely.
ready. You're ready.
Oh, yeah.
How come?
I just think he was so iconic in his time. And I just think he defined so many things. I mean, I joke around that, like, if a woman treats you like you're Elvis, then you know what I'm saying? She's a massive fan of yours. But yeah, I just think Elvis Presley was a pretty interesting character within life when he was in his prime, and then as he kind of fell apart. So I'd be interested in any one of those phases to ask questions.
That's interesting. No, I like that. I like the answer as well. And another quick fire question for you then. So we've talked about a lot about ICT. We talked about algorithmic trading, and the concepts. And as you know, we have a variety of guests on the show. And occasionally we have people who are the opposite. They don't like ICT. They say the concepts are fraud. They say the concepts don't work, and it's just all a marketing type of scheme in a sense that it's just it's like fluff or noise. Yeah. What would you say to that? Obviously, as someone who's obviously trades the concepts, trades it live, and obviously spends a lot of time on them.
I honestly believe trading is very much, it ultimately is like a language. It is like a musical instrument. And if someone likes to play the drums and someone else likes to play the guitar, or if someone believes in a certain creed, I think trading it's when you say it becomes ingrained in you as a philosophy, and that philosophy is much like a religion. I honestly believe that. So where and how you ingrain your logic into the charts to make a financial decision, whether that be an EMA or whether that be a break in structure followed by inducement, whether that be an order block forming at a certain level within market structure. I don't think everyone you don't have to be the same. I embrace diversity. I embrace the fact that some people don't like it and they don't resonate with it. That's fine. Some people speak English. Some people speak a language that I couldn't even comprehend 2 syllables. Does that make that language that they speak any less or better than someone else? So the language, the communication, the theory, the philosophy, I believe strongly in diversity. So if someone resonates with one and someone else resonates with another, then I embrace you as a trader. And you can talk shit on whoever you want. Like, you're going to be projecting your own negativity onto what is. And for someone else, it can be life-saving. It could be the best thing that ever happened to them. So I'm not, if someone is making money and they're happy with their supply and demand or their SMC or whatever it is, again, fill in the blank. Mine happens to be ICT, and I've been able to make financial decisions on a chart utilizing ICT and his theory and concepts. So I'm fine with that.
I love that. No, I love that. It's just like not breeding or feeding the negativity. It's just focus on yourself. Now, I completely agree in terms of the philosophy side of things. I think that's where, if some people will have the philosophy and have it as like you say, a religion in a sense, and very similar to religion, people are in 2 different religions, and they can have different opinions, different views on things, and they can be fine. They can have a healthy debate. They can disagree with each other, etc., and be healthy about it and still be positive overall. While just like religion, and just as we see in trading, the opposite is also true. Yeah. We see the negative side. We see people get too associated with this is my way, and that's my way or the highway type of mentality, and they start attacking each other, and they start having very feeding the negativity, as you say. So yeah, no, I love that answer. And the final one I'll give you is just you can either address the camera here or just speak to myself, but essentially for the traders out there, the traders out there who are in that sort of boom and bust cycle, they're not seeing that consistency. They're not seeing the progress just yet. What key pieces of advice would you give them in order to start to see the progress and lead towards that consistency?
The number one thing I would say is be patient. Understand that this is a long process. You've got time, And just like a martial art, just like an elite athlete, you have to practice. Practice is so important. And where do you practice without being putting yourself in harm's way? Because otherwise, in the market, you're at war, right? You can get damaged severely, financially, emotionally. You can go into drawdown, and it can really be detrimental to your psychology, to your mindset, to what you're trying to do. So practice, slow down. You don't have to trade live funds every single day. You don't have to. You want to practice. Treat the market like a laboratory. I think it's very important in the classic academic sense that people approach the market within a laboratory sense. That means you're going to paper trade, or you're going to be in demo, and you're going to be a student, and you're going to be fine with being a student. Because even as an elite athlete, or as a commando in the military, you practice for 90 to 95% before you actually live execute in a game like scenario. So for me, I think it's of the utmost importance that people give themselves grace, that they be patient, and they spend far more time practicing.
I love that. No, I love that. And I love the analogy with the laboratory. It's definitely something that people should take on board. And Kit, I thank you for coming down here. I know you traveled here as well, and for such a wholesome and really eye-opening conversation as well. I think a lot of non-ICT traders as well as ICT traders will have a lot to take away in terms of the depth, the clarity that one can have, and just many lessons and actionable advice. So I thank you again. It's been an absolute pleasure. And make sure, everyone, that you drop a comment with what you took away from this episode. And the links for ICT Concepts, aka Kit, will be in the description below. So make sure you go give him a follow and support the channels. And make sure you subscribed. And until next time, take care.
I was down over $50,000 on my lifetime account. And I was like, I'm now at zero, right? I'm now starting from zero profit, zero loss. If there was one piece of advice that I would have to someone who's trying to learn and is going through and follow it and is on social media, it would just be...
Welcome everyone to the Words of Wisdom podcast. We are back once again for our final podcast in Miami. And we saved the best till last. We're joined by Jake, aka Rake Trades.
My man, thank you so much for having me. Truly, it is very, very special to be here.
It's my pleasure, man. I know we don't really know each other like too well, but we've been speaking for a couple months.
Couple months now, yeah. We've been trying to get the timing right, trying to plan something. I mean, I saw you and your podcast growth has been unreal, and seriously, it's something that you deserve some serious credit for, because there are not many people who I would drop everything, be like, I need a 24-hour trip, we got to go film, I got to do it. But for you to come out here and do this, I feel very, very grateful. So yeah, man, it's been an inspiration to watch you.
I appreciate it, man. And I was saying the same exact thing to you, the energy is real, and the level of detail, that a lot of people, we were discussing that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
A lot of people don't have that level of detail, that dedication, that consistency. But before we skip over too much, there'll be a lot of people out there who might not know who you are.
Yes.
So therefore, this is our opportunity to go into sort of how you got to where you are today. So be as brief or as long as you want, no problem at all, because we have the time. You should have seen at the summit, I was like, very, very briefly. Within 60 seconds, tell me about your whole life story very quickly. But be as brief for as long as you want, and basically just how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a futures and options day trader. So a little bit outside of your niche of Forex, which I'm actually really excited about. I think that there's some elements of what I've learned in stock trading that haven't made their way to the Forex world yet. And a chart is a chart, right? So no matter what we talk about today, no matter who the audience is, I think it's going to be an insane value. And I definitely want to make sure to go out of my way to bring that energy. But yeah, my name is Jake. I have been day trading for coming up on 6 years now. So it's been a journey for me. I found out about trading during my last half of my college career. Okay. So I actually already had a job lined up. I studied plant science, absolutely nothing to do with trading. And during my last 2 years of college, I found out about trading, and on Instagram, I saw someone post a Robinhood screenshot. They were up like $100 in a day or something like that, and I was like, I would like to be up $100 in a day. Like that sounds really nice. Like what can I do to make $100 in a day? And I found out about trading through social media, and it ultimately kind of led me down this path of finding a few different mentors, trying stock trading at first. I tried trading penny stocks, and then pretty quickly moved over into the options world, got destroyed, and pretty quickly moved back to stocks, then tried futures, tried pretty much all of the various asset classes outside of Forex. It's the one that I haven't made my way to yet. And after a whole lot of trial and error of the first, like, I'd say 2 years before I even like found a remote sense of consistency, right? Like the first 2 years for me, I'm very open about this. I was just burning money. I was just down, and I didn't really know what I was doing, nor did I put in the effort to actually try and make any progress. For me, it felt like it was like 2 years of just trying to get more dopamine hits, aka entering a trade and hoping it works, right? So after a long period of not being successful at trading and many blown accounts, many deposited paychecks that ultimately went to zero, I decided to take it a little bit more seriously. I think that I had a conversation with my parents, and my dad was sort of like, hey, like if this is, I'm supportive of you giving this whole thing a shot, but you got to start making some progress. Like right now, from what you've told me, you've gone pretty much nowhere, and you're just losing all of the money that you've saved up throughout these jobs and college internships and all that. And he's like, this is not real progress. If you're going to do this, you have to make some sort of progress for it, right? Through that, was able to find a few different mentors that really put me in the position to succeed. And from there, finally found some consistency, trading mostly futures and options. So futures and options, and mainly options, are now what I trade on a daily basis. And yeah, that kind of, it all started through social media, right? Which is why now I'm like so passionate and have this energy about it. Is one person on social media changed my life forever 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And if one sort of piece of energy or podcast that we can do that for someone else, then that in and of itself makes everything worth it, right? So yeah, it's been a long journey, coming up on 6 years now, but now I've finally started to find my rhythm a little bit in what I'm doing.
That's incredible to hear. Absolutely incredible to hear. And, you know, when you were going through that process of the losses, for example, you know, what were the key things that were the issues of causing those losses?
Yeah. I always tell this to people that I believe I had some of the worst habits of all time, right? So like, it's really interesting now to see where I'm at and the success I've been able to have, considering when I started, it was like everything you like read about on Reddit, that's like the terrible things people would do, like I would be doing those things. And so a lot of it for me came from, I wasn't trying to, and I imagine this is similar in the Forex world, it wasn't trying to grow, I was trying to flip. Right, I wanted to flip.
Yeah.
I wanted to take my $2,000 account and turn it into 5, and then once I had 5, I was like, then I'll start being safe, right? And that's the way it's the mindset that always goes for. And so for me, it was really just nonstop inconsistency. So there was points in times, and I've talked about this a little bit in the past, but there was points in times where I would get a paycheck on Friday, and I would deposit that paycheck into my account on Friday, and then by like the next Wednesday, it would probably be gone, right? And that happened for, you know, several months straight, I feel like, where I just wasn't able to, the whole goal of what I was trying to do is I wanted to make back the money I had lost, right? I wanted to make back what I had started, and I was like, as soon as I get there, I'll start acting right? I'll start trading, using risk management, I'll start doing all these things, but I just need to get back to break even. I just need to get back to what I started with. I just need to do that. And that's, as we all know, that's the worst way to trade, right? Then you're making it all about the dollars, all about the process. So for me, not only was my mindset wrong, but then I also I was approaching it the complete wrong way in terms of how much I was willing to risk, right? In my eyes, I was just trying to flip everything as quick as I could to get back to a break-even point, or even remotely close to a break-even point. And it wasn't until I completely stopped that and doing that I made any sort of forward progress, right? And then it was a long journey from there, but every single one of the bigger losses that I had stemmed from trying to make back the initial losses, right? That every trader goes through in the beginning. Rather than accepting that I lost that money, I was hyper fixated on how can I make that exact amount back? Then I'm break even, then I'll be good, right? Like that, I feel like that's such a trap mindset of, as soon as I'm at X, I'll be good. As soon as I'm at X, I'll be good. Whether it's on a challenge account or whether it's on your own personal funded account, it's the kind of thing where we set like if then conditions almost on some level, and it's like if I get to break even or if I get to XXX, then I'm going to use risk management. Then I'm going to be disciplined. Then I'm going to be all that. And that just led me down a deep, deep hole of just depositing, losing, depositing, losing, depositing, losing.
Was there anything in particular that helped you to kind of get out of that mindset there?
I would say that conversation with my dad, the one where he told me essentially, he's like, hey man, I love you and I'm going to support you no matter what you do. I have an amazing relationship with my parents. And, I think I'm going to support you no matter what you do. Not financially, but he's like, I'm going to support you because he's like, no, I'm not financially. He's like, but like, I'm your dad. I'm always going to be that. I'm always going to be in your corner. I'm always going to be rooting for you. He's like, but you've been at this for a couple of years. You really haven't made any progress. Like something's got to change, right? Because I was very open with him about the struggles and everything that I was going through. So I think that conversation with him, one of the things that he helped me do is he's like, we came to that conclusion that I needed to forget about everything that had happened, right? I needed to have a blank slate. I needed to be starting trading from a blank.
Hello, good morning. So let's pause the podcast a bit. So I was like today in the morning. I'll delete all this. Hold on a second. So we got a serious push down from this fair value gap on Friday. So no, this is on this week. So I was expecting a buy side liquidity rate above here. So it did, and it pushed down. This fair value gap pushed down. So there is money lies here. The smart money is here, right? So let's go to the 90 minutes. It pretty much the same. It took sell side liquidity first, then took the buy side liquidity. Fine. So I was, as I told you before, here's this engineered trend line liquidity here. So I told you if you go a slide behind of this live, you can see I have predicted this engineered sell side liquidity. There will be a purge in this engineered sell side liquidity. Engineered buy side trend line liquidity, because price always tends to go to the equal highs and equal lows, and also this kind of textbook type trend line liquidity, price will go there, right? So what happened? The price went over there, so I marked this thing, the smart money thing, but yeah, the price again went down and took the buy side of this high. It happens, it is what it is, it happens. And after that, what happened? I told you this engineered liquidity, relative equal lows, will be taken. This is drawn liquidity. Actually, I wrote it's like raid on liquidity. It's not raid, it's drawn liquidity. Okay, so that's how we can see. I can see where the money lies. Where is the smart money? I can see that. So that's the power of this ICT concepts. That's what ICT delivered to us. It's a blessing. It's a blessing from God. So that's how I see price. And I can sell here if I want, sell here or buy in Euro USD. But it's Asian session and I don't get much of risk reward, right? So I'm not expecting price to go here. I don't know. I'm just a human. So I expect maximum from here. So it's just 1.6 RR, and it's in the morning. The spreads will be high, and it's it's not good. I can trade all day I want, but this is not a good time to sell, right? Or to buy. So that's it. So I gave you my forecast. It will purge this high and this high. It went like this. It took there to the engineered liquidity and took down, because price, the algorithm always make the range, and above the range and below the range, it's obvious there will be liquidity. So it will go like this. It will take the if it's going to sell side liquidity, it will take the buy side liquidity first and then go to the real direction, sell side liquidity. Sometimes the price will also go like this. I will tell you. Hold on a second, please. Where is it? Ah. Where is it? Where is it? I'm searching for the path. Path. Let's tweet. Where is the path? So the path, yeah, here it is. So sometimes the price will do this, like it will make a range. Algorithm will make a range. First, it will take the sell side liquidity, then it will take the buy side liquidity, and then it will go down. Why? Because because if you take the sell side liquidity first, people who are buying will get neutralized, and here some people will be selling from here inside this range. Their stop loss will be purged. So the people who are selling on the real direction also will get purged, and both sides. This is like a seek and destroy, the total destruction. So, but here it only did like it did this trend line liquidity. But if you zoom it closely, you can see this. See, hold on a second, please. This is the range. And what happened? Price took the sell side first, buy side then went down. So that is seek and destroy conditions based on ICT. So I didn't take a trade right now, but I predicted in precision exactly what's going to happen. That is the power of ICT. I give all credit to the ICT for that. So that's it for now. I will come back in the evening or in the afternoon. So what's my DX5 prediction for the day? For the day, it's like, let me check in the daily time frame. If you check the daily time frame, price went up from this order block to this fair value gap or to this order block. So where is the smart money? Smart money was here. It took order from this fair value gap. It's not filling completely, so most probably it will take this liquidity. It will take this liquidity because it's not filling up the fair value gap. Price is in a hurry to reach somewhere, so that will be probably this liquidity. Okay, so the smart money is here. It took it went up to the fair value gap and boom, price went down again. It made a kind of a fair value gap and price went to this order block, tapped this order block, and what happened? It couldn't reach any more higher. It went here and closed inside this fair value gap. Right? And what happened? And then it went down. Serious breakdown. It broke all these previous days lows. We already broke previous days Friday's lows here. Friday's low here, right? So most probably it will take last week low. That will be a target. I hope so. And if we go to the 6 hour, let's go to 13 hour or 12 hour. It's pretty much the same. There is an inversion fair value gap here. Inversion FEG is reacting from there. And let's go to the 6 hour time frame. 6 hour time frame. 6 hour time frame, pretty much the same. Where is the smart money? It took order from here, and then what happened? And yep, smart money is here and push down. Smart money is here, push down. So this low will be our first target most probably, but based on the OHLC we have to find a good entry most probably. We'll go to the 90 minutes time frame. This guy, this order block is giving some kind of reaction here, right? But it's in a downtrend, so we don't care about it, but we have to find a good, see, let's see like a good entry point for this. If this is our premium will be around above 103.408. So let's see what happens. I will go again 30 minutes. On 30 minutes basis, where is the smart money? Where is smart money? Hold on a second. Smart money. Oh, what is this? Smart money is here. Smart money lies here. See the reaction, all the price is rejecting there. So we can get one more raid here. We can expect one more raid here, because we got a raid based on this one, based on this 5 minute. If we go here in 30 minutes, let's go in 30 minutes, we get engineered failure highs, right? So that can be again, it can be a target. There will be a purge there most probably for the Asian session. Let's see how the Asian sessions. So the Asian session range is here, right? Asian session range is, this is our Asian session range. So let's go on 90 minutes. $60 minutes. It's actually getting good reaction up here. 1 minute. Yeah, most probably these highs can get raided. So anyways, I'm not liking the price action right now, so I'm not trading right now. So I can trade if it want to up to here, but nah, I don't want it. I need to get a good buy model or sell model to get in the trades. Okay, so that's it. So maybe for today it can also go like, it can take all these highs. It's currently the Asian session is over, right? Where is the Asian session? Asian Nico. Okay, this is the Asian session. So either way it can go also like this also. It's also possibilities. It's also possibilities. Right now I don't know how these things, I didn't get enough confirmation to say how these things goes, right? It can also go like this. It currently took the low of the range. Now it can go either here like this, or it can go like, it take the entire high and go down. Let's see how it plays out. Let's wait for the confirmation. Thank you. Good day and good trading. That's all for today. Thank you.